right, good evening, YouTube, and happy Friday. This is your host, Aaron, coming at you from New York City, and we are summarizing the end of the week, um, going over all of the day trading results. And today was a little bit of a crazy day. You can see right here, right off the bat, just by looking at it from the screen that I left up. Um, from the beginning of the market open, it was just red candle, red candle, red candle. It just kept coming down. Um, it had a weird start to the day, reversing all of the overnight upward movement, and then various different reasons for why the market, continued to make a new low. Is that is it because of Apple? I think most of the news outlets were saying it's because Apple is closing a bunch of retail stores, and the market took that to a little personally and decided to react by selling off. And I don't know how much I agree with that, but I think that what the news often does is attempt to connect the dots. If they see the market going down and taking a nosedive, kind of like it did today, and they see like, oh, Apple is also closing stores, they'll just connect the dots. And although they might be correlated, one doesn't necessarily cause the other. I think a lot of media outlets don't really know the difference, or they don't pay attention and highlight the difference between correlation and or correlation and causation. So like I don't. That's why I did a whole video on not trading the news, and today was a day where you might have been you might have had a false confirmation that, like, see, trading the news works. I knew that Apple was going to close its stores, and I knew that meant the S&P was going to go down. That kind of behavior or those kinds of predictions long term, unless you're working for like a billion-dollar hedge fund with a ton of resources that most people don't have, you're not really going to do very well. So that's just the caveat I wanted to bring to the day to kind of explain what is going on with all of this downward movement here. It was almost like a 100-point drop. It's maybe like a 90, like a 90+ point drop from the top all the way to the bottom of the day here. So let's go right into the daily breakout trade that I promised to demonstrate every day here. And I felt a lot better about taking the trade. And it is represented by this. This is the 15-minute candle that we're using as a reference point here. This is the 9:30 open candle. The top is this dotted green line, and the bottom is this dotted green line over here. So again, just to reiterate the idea behind this strategy is, if it breaks above this dotted line, then I want to buy and continue the ride the wave upward, if you will. And if if it does what it ended up doing, which is break below, then hold it and then sell it, I should say, and then hold it for the rest of the day, which I actually ended up not doing because I got scared. I chickened out. I'm going to get into that. But here's why I thought, here's what I was thinking in my head as this trade, as the market, approached its open. It's like I'm watching it, all morning pretty much, and I'm just kind of waiting for 9:30 to show up and see what's going to happen. And I can already kind of anticipate what was going to happen, because if you look here, if you look at this area and you see this kind of, like, if I do it this way, make it a little bit more narrow, it looks a little bit like Batman ears, right? This is a big piece of information right here, because it's actually telling me that this is the indicator for the RSI. The RSI made a high here, and you can't really tell as easily, but it made a lower high here, but the price made a high and a higher high. We call this negative divergence. Whenever you have a negative divergence, it's a warning sign. A warning sign doesn't mean price is going to reverse necessarily, but it means the there is an increased likelihood that price could reverse, right? It's not really a confirmation, right? So right away, when I saw that, this was 9:15, and I saw that it popped up this high, but I saw the divergence. I felt pretty good about selling after the open, and my piece of confidence that a piece of like my confidence booster in that was that price immediately following the opening 15 minutes started to break down below. Now, I didn't really understand how much it was going to correct, and so I really sold myself short here. And no pun intended, I really kind of sold myself short by giving myself only a 1-to-1. So you can tell that I entered right away, right after this opening candle. I entered right here. That's that red candle. But I also exited after a 1-to-1, which was probably approximately around 118 is where I exited, and I got a few bucks out of it. My intention for doing these trades is more to practice execution and the mental and emotional game that's associated with taking a trade, really based on nothing else other than the open, and just sticking with it. I only stuck with it with a 1-to-1. Usually I'm looking for like a 2-to-1, but I don't know what it was. I maybe it was because I took some losses yesterday. I was just more scared today. And so even this win, I found myself not really enjoying it so much because I saw that look at this bad boy right here. It hit it went all the way back down to the 3100 level that I've been talking about all freaking week, right? And it broke below that, and it took it down even further. And I just felt like I didn't know if I should jump in. I felt it was kind of late, and there was just a lot of mental chitter chatter going on that that made me. So this is what it came down to. I realized I sold myself short here, and I saw these red candles over the next hour, right? Over the next 30 minutes to an hour. I'm like, man, I should have left it. I would have made so much more money if I had just left it, and I already found myself in a prime position to get into some careless kind of reckless revenge trading kind of territory, and and that's never really a recipe that never really goes well for me, and I don't think that really ever goes well for anybody. So I just said, you know what, just be happy with the 1-to-1. At least it wasn't a loss, it was still a gain. At least be happy with the 1-to-1. It's totally fine, and I saw an opportunity later after the price came down here, and I noticed that there was some buying pressure up here that wanted to push it back up, but it was still pushed back down. So we saw divergence again, but in this case, positive divergence, indicating that the price would go back up. So I saw this later on. Where was it? Maybe it wasn't on this time frame. Maybe it was on the... I didn't mark it down. Maybe it was on this time frame. Yeah, I think it was on the smaller time frame. I think it was maybe on the 3-minute time frame where I saw divergence again, because I think it's right here where you actually see a low here and another low here. The price this is actually a little bit lower, right? I don't know, it's slight, but it is a little bit lower. But the lows down here are definitely higher, right? If I'm lining it up with with this candle directly, then it's not even if I was looking at this low, it would be higher. But I'm really looking at the candle looking at the low down there. So this is going down, that's going up. We call that negative, positive divergence. And so I felt pretty good about taking a buy, even though price was crashing down. I felt pretty good about taking a buy. I felt more confident about this in the opening breakout. I don't know why. Maybe because I think coming off a win, you just tend to be a little bit more confident, and at least that's the way that I was feeling. So I felt confident about taking this level, this 30.75, nice round number, right? Nice small quarter number, and taking a small quarter all the way up to 3100 for 25 points. I felt pretty good about that, and I got it, right. It took a few minutes to get there, but it was a very smooth and steady ride. No real any fear. But I also had a sitting order up here to take it back down to 75. And obviously, hindsight being 2020, I would have made money both going up and going down. But you know what? I'm really not used to doing that. The idea of taking a long and a short like at the same time, one right after another, is like still kind of foreign to me. I'm still kind of new to it. So I did get scared and I cut this short. I think I may have actually even taken a loss just because I wanted to. I felt compelled to cancel the short here immediately, and I might have taken a loss for this. I don't remember. I'm not really paying too much attention to the dollar amount that I'm winning and losing. Just the fact that just paying attention more to perfecting the process to get the wins and losses, to get higher probability wins than losses. Even if I actually take on a higher number of losses, I would still be more profitable. And this week is definitely a profitable week. Definitely. I definitely made a few $100s this week, from starting from Monday to Friday, which should make up for the fact that I had lost a bunch of money last week. But yeah, who's keeping score? I feel like keeping score too much in that sense is more of a distraction that takes away from me practicing my process. And the idea of just looking for divergence, and focusing on just kind of my own mental fortitude and my own emotional stability of being confident and letting trades run. Right, there was 2 instances I should have let this run and I would have made at least $100 something. If I let this run, I would have made almost $200. I sold myself short out of at least $300 today by being scared on the short. And that kind of thing is a very easy way to go on tilt, to use some poker language, and do some reckless moves in the future. And I definitely don't want to be that kind of a trader. So today, I mean, it's like going into the weekend, it's just a lot of it's just going to be a lot of forgiving myself for taking smaller profits than bigger ones, and understanding that when I get better than this, I'll have the guts, I'll have the balls to do it. Today I didn't. Today I didn't. I feared the short, and I just took a 1-to-1 on this one instead of the potential 3-to-1, or definitely there was even a 4-to-1 available here. But my usual would have been at least a 3-to-1, and I would have easily gotten that. I just got scared, and just telling myself it's okay. It's better than a loss, right? This one was a tiny bit of a loss because I got scared. Same reason, and that could have been a huge move down. Look at what the market did afterwards. But same thing. Overall, I'm just gonna take the smaller profits. I think I only made it was less than $200 today, but there was definitely potential for it to be $500, and I mean, at least it's not negative. right? And it's just kind of how I have to be okay with it and move on from it, so that I have the right frame of mind to get into trading when the market opens up on Sunday night or Monday morning. I don't know which open is going to be more significant. Sunday is Father's Day, so I might not actually be paying attention to the open. Although this has me very interested. I will say the way that the week ended on a really, really sour note. If we just move on to the daily here for a moment. Let's just zoom out. Just kind of zoom out. Okay. You can see it. Look, you can see the multiple arrows of indicating all my day trades, multiple arrows per day. But the way that the week started off with what was it? What was Monday's date? 15th. The week started off with such promise of like recovering off of the nasty hit that we took last week, but as soon as it kind of did, it was like, nope, like we're gonna find a reason to come back down. And so it was a very choppy sideways week overall, right? A lot of optimism Monday and Tuesday, and then a lot of skepticism and negative, pessimism, the rest of the week, and we ended on a lower note. I don't know if this week technically though is a positive week, right? It's kind of a middle type of week. If you look at this weekly calendar, if you're the weekly candle, it's not really a bullish candle, nor is it a bearish candle. It's just kind of smack in the middle with a lot of wicking action top and bottom. So it's going to be very interesting what happens in the following weeks, because we've been on a pretty steady uptrend. This is a weekly chart right now. Since the bottom of the market in March, we've been climbing pretty steadily, with some ugly weeks here and there, right? But this is one of the first times that we weren't able to break above a previous week's high at all, and there's something to be said about that, right? It's going to be very interesting. I don't have a crystal ball, and I'm not going to try to predict that, this might be the beginning of a movement downward, but there's definitely something up. There's definitely weakness. I'll just put it that way. Right, just the shape of this candle, right? Just from the shape of this candle alone, there's definitely weakness with the way that the market ended, right? You usually don't end a week on such a negative note. But like last week it was like that. This week it was like that, and like this was last Friday, wasn't it? This candle, was that the 11th? That was last Thursday. So last Thursday we had this ugly red candle that the market took a hit. Friday couldn't quite rebound. It just barely did anything. And then this week it started off promising and then disappointing finish. So there's definitely some weakness going on here. If you're looking at it from the daily, and who knows what's going to happen. But I'll be sure to continue doing this overall over the next week as well. I might actually just consolidate the videos and just summarize the trades and make it like a weekly video instead of going live every day. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what the audience has to say about it, right? If anything. So for now, this is it. It was a profitable week. Made a few $100. Could have been more, but coulda, woulda, shoulda. I'm gonna just take the win as it is, even if it's a smaller win. Profits are better than losses. So it was I'm gonna write this off as a pretty good trading week for me. Hope everybody else had a great week as well, and have a great weekend, and happy Father's Day to all the dads out there and all the families out there. Please stay safe, and make sure while you're here, make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you get notified for more daily content just like this. and stay tuned from the next video from YouTube. Have a great weekend, everybody.